Hello, everybody. I'm Keely Vickerson with SolidCAD, and with me today is Rose Otto and Dolly Burke from one of our partners here at SolidCAD. They're with Eagle Point. I think we'll do a quick introduction. I already mentioned I'm based out of the Toronto office with SolidCAD. I'm focused on the architects and engineering industry. Rose, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Keely. My name is Rose Otto. I'm a partner manager with Eagle Point Software, overseeing the partnership with SolidCAD and ensuring that our solutions are fit for the Canadian market, understanding what types of software our clients in Canada are using, and what kind of features you're looking for, etc. So that's a little bit about my role. I'll turn it over to Dolly for an introduction.
Thanks, Rose. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dolly Burke, and I am a customer success manager with Eagle Point Software. Today, I'll be doing the demonstration of Pinnacle Series and of Knowledge Smart. I'm very excited to show you the platform and explain those benefits to you.
Thanks, Dolly. So we were just going to talk a little bit about SolidCAD before we dive into Rose explaining about Eagle Point. So many people know us as the Autodesk Bluebeam reseller. Lately, we've gotten into the Matterport camera. They've pretty much given us all of their Canadian business. So lots of new features going on with them, especially relative to BIM. Of course, we have a manufacturing side, and we're finding more and more the architects are connecting to some prefab products relative to building. But we like to say we cover the entire gamut from rendering to handover. So whatever your construction project is, we probably have someone on our team who can help you with that. You can go to the next slide, Dolly. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're in the architecture, engineering, and construction focused group. We're going to focus primarily today on those softwares that you're going to be utilizing that your team needs to learn more about. You can go to the next slide. So obviously, we sell the software, but we support it in every way possible. So from getting your team to become more productive to training, and of course, Eagle Point is a part of our training and productivity services that we offer. But we also have Scan to BIM. We can help you assess your workflow and what challenges are there. So the other thing we're seeing is a lot of civil connecting more to the BIM process. So we've got a really strong team on the infrastructure side, from bridges to highways to water plants, and bringing in some new, fun, exciting products with respect to water and sanitation. And I think we're going to turn it over to Rose, and she's going to help us with who is Eagle Point. Thanks, Rose.
Thank you, Keely. So Eagle Point Software has been around since 1983. We are a company of architects, engineers, construction professionals, manufacturing professionals. Our biggest team is customer success, the team that Dolly is on, and a large team of developers as well. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because we develop the majority of our content in-house, and we own our solution. So we have people working every day to add features, make the platform even better, etc. The Pinnacle Series is the e-learning platform that you'll see today. It's been around since 2006. Obviously, it's evolved quite a bit since then. And then if you are familiar with Knowledge Smart, it's the assessment feature of the platform. With the integration, you can assess your staff, and then based on their assessments, Pinnacle Series is automatically creating a personalized learning experience for you, saving the company time and money and giving your users a better experience learning. We have over 550,000 users in the platform today worldwide. We are one of the Autodesk one of the founding members of the Autodesk Developer Network, and we've been partners with SolidCAD since 2021, and it's been a really great partnership. So thank you, and thank you for having us. I will turn it over to Dolly to talk about why the Pinnacle series was created back in 2006. So Dolly, take it away.
All right, thank you, Rose. So to what Rose was alluding to before I bring up Pinnacle Series, I really just want to give you an understanding of why Pinnacle Series exists. We have found that there's these three common challenges that many organizations face. These are laid out here on the slide. I'm going to spend just a few minutes explaining these challenges so then we can understand how Pinnacle Series can help, and then we'll jump over to the platform for that demonstration. So the first challenge, this concept of continuous learning, covers a few different challenge areas. Whether it's onboarding new employees and bringing them up to speed, you need to be able to provide training to the new employees so that they have an understanding of how they can do their day-to-day job. Or maybe for your existing employees, you want to provide training as an opportunity for those users to take their skills to the next level. Also, with the technologies that are being used, new versions are always being released, and users just really need a way to maintain their knowledge level. Pinnacle Series comes loaded with training on a variety of technologies. The platform provides on-demand training when your users need it, but also when they have the time to do it. The next challenge is knowledge capturing and sharing. For many organizations, it can be a challenge to capture knowledge, or think of it as your company standards, processes, best practices, and then be able to share that information throughout your organization to all of your users. Having all this information not only documented, but also consistently updated and easily accessible can be a challenge. With Pinnacle Series, you can easily upload any custom content to the platform. You have unlimited storage to upload any documents, videos, PDFs, any sort of training materials your organization needs. All of this information then becomes searchable on the platform, and any of the materials you add can be incorporated into the learning that's being assigned out to your users, so that way you can be sure they're learning about your processes, your best practices. Having all this knowledge information in one location makes it easier for employees to find what they need and stay productive, which brings us to that last challenge of increasing productivity. If we look at the way that users are currently using Pinnacle Series today, about half of our users are logging in for the e-learning content. The other half of users are working on a project and logging in to, find an answer to the question or get some help if they get stuck. People need answers to their questions, and they need to be able to find those answers quickly in order to stay productive. So Pinnacle Series really starts with the learning content, but then also becomes this central location to share all of your tips and tricks, best practices, company standards, all in one location, and makes it easily accessible as well. All right, like I said, that was just a little bit of an introduction as to why we created the Pinnacle Series. I'm going to use those 3 challenges to kind of guide us through the overview today. I do want to mention, as I'm going through this, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I know Rose and Keely will be helping me out kind of manning the chat. And then at the end, if they weren't able to answer it through the chat, I'll be sure to jump in and answer what we can as well. All right, let me go ahead and bring up Pinnacle Series. So I'm here on the Pinnacle Series homepage. A few things off the top. It is a browser-based solution, so making it very easy for users to access regardless of where they are working from. As far as the overall look and feel of the tenant, we allow each of our clients to personalize their tenant of Pinnacle Series. So right now you can see we're logged in a tenant that was created for SolidCAD. So we're seeing their logos, their colors, but you have full ability to change any colors, themes, logos, fonts. Even the layout can be customized. So we'll talk a lot about customization opportunities as well. Now, at a high level, I just want to give you an overview of the different sections of the homepage and how it's laid out. When a user logs in, what that user sees on their homepage will be personalized to that user, and is really just helping them get quick access to what they might be needing. So depending on what work groups they are a part of will drive what they see here. In the My Courses section, they'll see any of those on-demand courses that they're currently enrolled into. Now, if a user is logging in to access some content, maybe to get some guidance, they can do a search up top, or they could browse for information over here on the left in this area that we call asset libraries. Now, this is where all the content on the platform is organized. There are 2 separate sections. I'm actually going to start with this Adobe and going on down. These are the public preloaded libraries that are available with a Pinnacle Series subscription. So meaning our team here at Eagle Point Software, SolidCAD, our partner, are maintaining the content within these libraries as part of the subscription. So you can see we have a long list of different technologies. We can expand some of these libraries to see everything that's included. Autodesk being the largest of any of our libraries, with AutoCAD, BIM products, Civil 3D, Navisworks, InfraWorks, Revit, much, much more. We do have a separate Autodesk Construction Cloud library there as well, but we also have a number of libraries on technology outside of Autodesk. So you can see the Adobe, the Bentley, Bluebeam, Esri. We have a global BIM standard library, McNeil, Procore, much more here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump actually back into Autodesk here and just go into Revit. Just give you an example of how these libraries are laid out. So I will mention, for the purposes of the demo today, we have everything turned on. We have all the technologies on the left, all the version years going back to 2012. Anything that you don't need your users to see can be hidden from visibility to kind of shorten the list of items that they're either browsing through or searching through. But obviously for the demo purposes, we want to show you everything that we do have available. So I'm on our 2024 library, on the Revit library. I want to introduce the 4 types of assets, or what we call the materials that make up these libraries on the left-hand side here. So first we have learning paths, and learning paths are the on-demand courses that are going to guide the user through the structured curriculum to learn a new skill or to fill a knowledge gap. There's different levels of learning, some advanced fundamentals, getting started, and then maybe some more intermediate topics as well. Learning can be self-enrolled into, or a manager or an admin can also assign learning to users. Then we have workflows, and workflows are a visual guide of a process or best practice. It's going to walk you step by step through that process. We'll jump into examples of each of these in just a moment. Documents are quick, helpful information, maybe some tips and tricks, how-to, troubleshooting steps, frequently asked questions. And then a large library of videos. So kind of in contrast to a learning path that might be 30 minutes to an hour long, all of our videos are 5 minutes or less. So let's say the user is working on a project. We don't necessarily want that user to have to sit through an entire course, to find the answer to the question. Instead, they can check out that library of 5-minute videos. So once again, these are the types of materials making up these libraries on the left-hand side here. But these are also the types of materials that you can incorporate into the platform as well. So at the top of the call, I was kind of introducing the concept of knowledge capturing and sharing. So up top here, we are logged into a SolidCAD tenant. So this is an example of their custom content library. But in the future, if you go ahead with Pinnacle Series, you have the opportunity to create your own custom library up top here as well. So you can name these folders whatever you wish, based on the types of materials that you do add. But it's important to remember you have unlimited storage. You can add any documents, whether it's Word, PowerPoint, Excel, HTML, videos, roll them up into a learning path. We have a lot of clients that will use this as an opportunity to create kind of a structured onboarding process for them as well, kind of organize a custom learning path. And we'll talk a little bit about customizing some learning here in just a minute. But really our goal with Pinnacle Series is to create this central hub of information that users are coming to find, whether it's out of the box learning, custom learning. We'll talk a little bit about some webinars and some other opportunities here as well. So that was kind of a quick high level overview of the platform, but thinking back to those common challenges, and I want to show you the different areas that will help with each. So if we think of the first challenge of continuous learning and being able to provide employees with training for onboarding or to advance their skill sets, the My Courses section is primarily how users will access their learning. Kind of how we've already discussed, users can browse and self-enroll, or they can be assigned learning. But once that enrollment has taken place, the course will appear in the My Courses section of the homepage until that user completes all of the materials that make up that course. So as an example, I'll go ahead, I'm going to jump into the Civil 3D learning path to give you an example of what our courses look like. So on the left-hand side, we have the outline or the tree view, or excuse me, the outline or the curriculum of this course. So the platform is going to guide the user through the list. As one video ends, it'll jump to the next item in the list. Courses can be made up of videos, documents. Looks like this one has an exercise for the user to work through, and then ends there with a quiz as well. So this is an example of what comes out of the box with Pinnacle Series, but providing you another customization opportunity. You can take any of our out of the box learning, so such as this intersections course. Within our managed content area, you can copy down this curriculum, and at that point you can remove anything that's not necessary. But if you also want to incorporate any of your custom materials, you could add your video, your document right into this lineup. That way you can make sure users are learning about your processes, your best practices, and it can be assigned out the same way as any of our out of the box learning. So very easy to customize the learning as well. So that's a little bit about how learning can be customized, but another area that makes Pinnacle Series unique is that users can receive a personalized learning path that will focus on the areas that they need training on. So to do this, we have an assessment tool called Knowledge Smart, and it provides technology assessments for each user. And then with the results of those assessments, we can provide targeted learning based on that user's individual skills gaps. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm actually going to hop into my demo tenant here, just because I'm an actual user on this site. So I want to be able to illustrate this for you. In my demo tenant here, you can see I have this trophy icon. That is our assessment icon. You can see that I have a little alert telling me that I've been assigned an assessment. So I'm going to go ahead and select the link. It's going to take me to the assessment welcome page where I can get an idea of what's included. I can download a data set. So Knowledge Smart assessments are made up of both knowledge-based questions, so just knowledge of the technology, but also task-based questions. So asking the user to open a project file, complete some steps before they can answer the question. Once I have everything I need, I can go ahead and begin my assessment. So essentially the user is working through the question navigator on the left-hand side. Questions can be multiple choice, fill in the blank, multi-select, true, false. Sometimes there's some items you have to kind of put in the correct order. Once I have completed all of my questions, I can go ahead and submit my assessment. And then back on my Pinnacle Series homepage, I will receive a personalized learning path, meaning I will only be enrolled in topics that are needed based on that assessment that I just completed. I will not have to spend time retraining on topics, that I've shown that I understood through the course of that assessment. So as an example, I have this, once again, the Civil 3D Fundamentals. There's that little trophy icon. So this is telling me that this has been personalized for me. I click into it, it'll look very similar to the course, the learning path that I was just showing you, but some of the differences. Up top, you can see that I was only enrolled in 11 out of the 16 courses. So our fundamentals learning paths are very, very long, but by assessing up front, I actually saved myself probably a few hours of training by skipping over those initial 5 courses. I also have this show all topics toggle where I can see the individual items that I'm also kind of skipping over because I've shown that I understand those topics through the assessment process. You can kind of see they're grayed out and that trophy icon is appearing again. So Knowledge Smart is a great resource for you to efficiently provide training to your users based on their individual needs, but also a great way to identify what are the skills gaps across the organization or maybe across a certain team. With all this assessment data, you can really identify where there might be opportunities for larger training initiatives for your organization. Also, I'll just mention this, a really common use of Knowledge Smart is that you can actually send an assessment to someone you're interviewing for an opening within your organization. So they can take the assessment. If you decide to move forward with that individual, you can actually convert them to an employee in the system. It will retain the results, and now you can use that personalized learning path as part of their onboarding experience for when they begin with your organization. All right, let me stop that and hop back into SolidCAD site here. Okay. Back on the home page here, I do want to highlight this live event option that helps us create another learning style that we like here at Eagle Point, and that is a blended learning approach. And by blended, I mean we of course have the on-demand courses that users are kind of working through at their own pace, as they have the time to do so. But this live event section allows you to incorporate live instructor-led training alongside the e-learning content. So your internal technical experts, your training coordinators, maybe your HR team can lead a live training, and from Pinnacle Series, users can be invited and can register for the event. The event itself is still happening on something like a Teams, a Zoom, a GoToWebinar, but this is simply a way to organize and schedule these events. So the events that we're seeing on the calendar today are actually events that our team, Eagle Point Software, puts on a weekly basis. This is part of the subscription. We're doing a weekly webinar series, change the focus of the technology, since we kind of have clients in all industries there. But simply just register for anything that you're interested in. It sends the ICS file to the user so they can save to their Outlook calendar, get that reminder to join. And it's really just has grown into a great resource. But I just want to make sure it's known that you're going to see our events that we're putting on, but you can also include and create your own internal events. Those will obviously be locked down to your tenant, only to your users, but it's an opportunity, because really what our goal with Pinnacle Series is, once again, creating that central hub that users are coming to for out-of-the-box learning, customized learning, but also any live events here as well. So those are some of the different learning opportunities available in Pinnacle Series. But to kind of go along with that, we need to be able to report on who's doing what on the platform. So I just want to take a moment here to kind of cover the reporting capabilities with Pinnacle Series. All right, so we have reporting on learning, reporting on usage, and I'm going to cover the Knowledge Smart reporting here as well, the assessment data. So we can get a very high level overview of who's currently enrolled, what courses were completed. We can see who our top learners are, the amount of time it's taking users to complete the training, learning path progress, and then also some other reporting for those live events that I was just explaining to you, as far as who's registered and then who attended those completed sessions. This is just a dashboard view. Each of these dashboards has a report details link where we can then filter down to specific users or get very more like specific information. So I kind of just dove into the learning path progress report here to get a high level overview of the user's status in different enrollment. We can also get reporting on usage of the platform. So who's logging into the platform, how often, what resources are being used. So outside of learning, what videos, workflows, documents. And this is really helpful information when we start to talk about managing content on the platform. We can see, what's being searched for. So why are users coming to Pinnacle Series? What are they looking for? Do we have an opportunity to promote some content that we already have? Do we need to add maybe some custom content on the various topics? Or is there an opportunity to hold more of a live event type session if we have 15 people looking for a certain topic there? Same sort of setup, just a dashboard view, but we can dive into the details of any of these dashboards here. And then finally, with Knowledge Smart, keeping track of all the assessments that are going out, the status of those assessments. Then once the assessments are completed, we can start to analyze the data. We're tracking, what's the average score by the average amount of time, what users might be okay to kind of skip over some learning versus who are some users that maybe need some additional training as well. With Knowledge Smart too, it's going to track all the training tags that have come up. So every Knowledge Smart question is tagged as a training tag that then carries over to Pinnacle Series, that then is tagged to our videos, our documents, our workflows. So that's how the system knows what to assign out. So we're identifying those skills gaps so that at a very high level, you can see, what are the common skills gaps that are showing up, and maybe where do we need to focus in on some additional training as an organization. All right. To kind of switch gears a little bit, we talked a lot about learning, but that's really just half of the equation with Pinnacle Series. All right, so let's say your users are through onboarding, through training, focusing on project work. Now they can use Pinnacle Series to get those quick answers they need or to get some help if they get stuck. So from the homepage, there are a few areas that can help users get right to the content they need, or so they can quickly return back to work. Kind of how we've already discussed, users can browse through the libraries on the left-hand side, or they can do a search up top. When Pinnacle Series does a search, it's going to look through all of our out-of-the-box content, but also any custom materials that you add to the platform as well. There's some filter options on the left-hand side, so you can quickly filter down by maybe an asset type or a certain technology that you are using. Now, I do want to show you examples of the remaining asset types, just so you have an understanding of the types of materials that make up Pinnacle Series, but also materials that you can also incorporate into the platform as well. So once again, documents are just quick, helpful information, tips and tricks, frequently asked questions, maybe some troubleshooting steps. There'll usually be some helpful links, screenshots. Every asset has a share icon where you can easily copy a link, share via email, share with other users within Pinnacle Series. But you can also share to My Assets, which is a favorites or a bookmarks. I'll show you where that ends up on the homepage here. I'll go ahead and share that to My Assets. All right. And then we have videos. Once again, all the videos are meant to be quick how-to type videos, so 5 minutes or less, around 5 minutes or less. We have the video navigation tools. You can take this to full screen, but we also have this transcript on the right-hand side, which is helpful for a few different reasons, but one just being navigating the video. If I scroll ahead and maybe I found what I need, I can click into the transcript and the video will jump ahead to where I'm selecting. So really helping users, stay productive by finding what they need. Any videos you add into Pinnacle Series can be auto-transcribed, which is going to help your users find your video. So when Pinnacle Series does the search, it's looking at titles, descriptions, but it's also scanning through all the transcriptions as well. Another thing that I didn't mention at the top of the call, but Pinnacle Series is available in just over 90 different languages. An individual user has the option to change the language of their platform but from their user profile, and that would update any of the written word and then all the transcripts that we have that go along here as well. I'll just show you where this is, user profile. So every user will have a user profile where they can select the language that they need for Pinnacle Series. All right. Finally, we have workflows, and workflows are a visual guide of a process or best practice. This is an example of setting up a project in Revit here as an example. On the left-hand side, we have the outline, the tree view of this process. We can kind of follow along step by step. In the middle, we have this interactive diagram view that I can zoom in, scroll over, follow along step by step. But when I click into the steps, that's when the details of what I need to be doing or how I can complete the step will appear on the right-hand side. So essentially the user is reading through the text. Within the text, there are some helpful links, one being a reference video. So if I need a reminder on how to do something, I can pop open that video without losing my spot in the workflow that I'm following along to. There are also tool command links that will take the user right to where they need to be. In this case, this is a Revit workflow. I have Revit open. I can select my material browser link, and it will go ahead and take me back into Revit and open that material browser window for me so that I can complete this step in the workflow that I'm following along to. So it's a very helpful tool to have your project open on one screen, following along to a workflow on the other screen, really ensuring users are following the correct process the first time they work on something, and hopefully eliminate any need for rework down the road. In the same way we spoke about being able to copy our out-of-the-box learning paths, the same is true for any of our out-of-the-box workflows. You can copy down this workflow, make any modifications so it kind of outlines the process that you want your users to follow when, as an example, starting a project, setting it up. Maybe you want to add some links to different file locations. That can all be customized as well. While I have Revit open though, I do want to highlight another tool that we have available within the technology. It is the Related Learning Topics tool. So depending on what commands I am utilizing, depending on, you can see what I'm selecting in Revit, the Related Learning Topics tool is going to show content related to those commands. So if I'm working on a project, maybe I find myself stuck here for a second, I can see that there's a 5-minute video on placing walls. This link is going to take me directly over to Pinnacle Series so that I can review that video and then return to my project. Right now, it's showing our out-of-the-box learning materials, but if you have workflows, checklists, process documents that you want users to be following along to, those items can be tagged to the appropriate commands and be shown in this utility as well. Very helpful way to keep the materials in front of the users. Once it is downloaded, activated, it will pop open with the user's project. There are some viewing options as far as minimizing until you need it. It'll kind of just stick wherever you want it to stay, and it'll stay there until you move it again. So there are some kind of viewing options. So we don't want to get in anyone's way or anything like that. All right, just a few more areas here, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Or I guess maybe we'll jump back in PowerPoint here first. But one thing I did mention, the My Assets. So this was the bookmarks or favorites that I was kind of explaining. You can use that share icon. It's really just creating a quick link from the user's homepage to items that they're needing on a regular basis, or maybe they found especially helpful. I do want to mention the setup, I guess, of Pinnacle Series. I'm going to jump into my demo tenant for this. Since it's browser-based, there's not really a lot of setup needed, but we do need to get users into the platform. We can do so manually. We can import from a spreadsheet, or if you have an Active Directory that we can sync with and kind of want to automate as users come and go from your organization, that's an option for us here as well. Once we have users on the platform, they need to be organized into groups, and groups will really be what will drive their permissions on the platform. So as far as who can manage content, who can view reporting versus who's just a standard user that's consuming content. And then the other thing I'll mention, we have options for a single sign-on as well. So from a technical setup, that's there as well. And then finally, back on the homepage, we have this My Work Group. So when a user logs in, they will only see the work groups that they are part of. And work groups is a way to pull together the right group of content for the right group of users. So you could create work groups for teams, disciplines, maybe it's a project team, maybe it's a group of new users going through onboarding. But when I go into a work group, it's going to open up to this asset tab where I can see all the materials that have been pulled together for this group. So maybe it's learning, maybe it's documentation, just some relevant materials, so that way users have access right from their homepage. They're only seeing what they need. But other features in a work group, there's a discussion tab where we can leave comments or feedback for other members of the group. On the members tab is where we can add or remove users. We also have an option to invite external members into a work group. So we can, let's say if this was for a project team and we want to invite a contractor, a subconsultant who's also a member of that project team, we could invite them to be a member of the work group. They would have access to any of the materials we add to this asset tab, but not all of Pinnacle Series. All right. So that is really what I wanted to share with you this afternoon. Rose, should I go ahead and jump back into the PowerPoint, or did you want to open it for questions yet?
Yes, let's go back to the PowerPoint.
Okay.
It is a good time for questions. So if you do have any questions, definitely chat them in and we can answer them live. But I will cover just a little bit about the subscription model while we let you do that. So please go ahead and fill those out and we'll get back to them shortly. So the Pinnacle Series is sold as a subscription. So similar to how your Autodesk subscription is purchased, that's how Pinnacle Series works as well. So you can purchase it for 1 year or 3 years. The way that it works for larger enterprise organizations is just slightly different. You'll also get to work with our customer success team directly. So definitely reach out to the SolidCAD team for that. But if you are a non-enterprise organization, you get access for the users that you purchase. You can pick and choose your asset library. So Dolly talked about how you can customize it at your own. Definitely turn off any irrelevant versions or irrelevant content. So that's all up to you. We have over 90 languages supported in the platform. Dolly covered reporting, unlimited cloud storage, customization. She covered the Active Directory single sign-on. We do have an open API for custom development as well.
Okay. Yeah, so if there are no further questions, although please feel free to follow up by email if you think of something later. I will tell you that many organizations are, bringing this on board primarily for, getting those new students up to speed with their current standards. So, getting them onboarded, not only access to Revit training, which everybody in the industry is looking for these days, can't get it out there fast enough, but also how your company is specifically working in that field. So having a lot of success with that. And I think it was, I will get the Canadian pricing out to you. It's really in the $300 range per user per year, roughly. So we'll have a conversation around that. But if there's no more questions, we will definitely follow up with a link so you can review this, and we'll let everybody get back to their day. Thank you. Thanks, Rose. Thanks, Dolly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.